Hi, this is Billy. You're watching the BillyCdiy channel. I changed the channel name to this one because there are few other Billy DIY channels on YouTube, so it will be easier to find me by just typing BillyCdiy. This is part 3 of the project where I show you how I install the crystal radio and test it. If you haven't watched part 1 of the video, please go and watch it, where you'll find a link in the video description how to download the 3D print files. Once you downloaded it, print it out, and we can start the installation. The first thing you need to do is to stick the faceplate of the chassis to the main body of the chassis. Just use some super glue to do it. You can align the two components by the holes in the chassis. I even use some screws to fix it in position. Then finally you will squeeze them together. Next, mount the handle through the holes on the chassis. Just use some screws and 3 screws to mount it. If you want to highlight the labels, you can use this marker. I use red. You can use your color of choice. Just paint the label to make it stand out. Next, you need to get some M4 screws. I use the copper one. You can use anything that you can solder on. So put a bit of solder on the top. Make sure you don't block the cross in the middle, otherwise you can't drive the screw into the chassis later on. I designed the holes of the screw in the chassis to be 3.5mm. This is to make sure when you drive the M4 screw there, it will be fastened securely. These M4 screws are the antenna terminals. And if you have a telescopic antenna with an M4 screw hole, you can just mount it like that. So you can listen to the crystal radio outdoor. Next is to solder your circuit together. I'll skip this part, assuming you can solder it according to the circuit diagram. If you haven't watched part 2 of the video, please go there and watch it. It will explain to you how you put things together. So the FM component can be installed. We have a few connection holes for the audio jack and also for the detector sockets, where you can install the detector like MOSFET, diodes, or crystals. The variable capacitor is an air copper variable capacitor. It can be secured using one screw on the top. Then we can mount the FM tuning knob, so you just push in and secure it. Next, we are going to install the AM circuit. So first we will put in the ferrite ring, mount it onto the column on the base using a screw with a bar that you can print out from the 3D print files. And we put in the audio jack and the detector socket, like what we did with the FM radio circuit. Next, we mount the variable capacitor. It is mounted by 2 screws in the front. Then we install the knob for the AM tuning. We need a screw to mount it. Then we use some AA super glue to secure the socket for the detector in place. So when we push in the detector, diode, or MOSFET, it won't slide. Next, we install the band switch. Band switch can be secured using 2 screws. Now we need to solder all the wires for the antenna to the M4 screws so they are connected to the antenna terminal. Now we can finish the job by closing the back cover. And that's it, you have it. A new crystal radio that looks very cute. Let's drive to the field where it's close to the FM transmission station to do a test. I've traveled to the Golden Beach in Hong Kong, which is close to the FM transmission station. It's up on the hill that you see on the background. The tip of the hill is the FM transmission station, and it only transmits FM, no AM. So we can catch the FM station by standing here, which is around 3.5 kilometers away from that top of the hill. I've installed a 1.2 meter long telescopic antenna, and it's enough to receive very good, clear FM broadcast. You're hearing the output from the crystal radio that are connected to my iPhone for recording. There's no amplification involved here, only the AGC of the iPhone's recording circuit is in play here. I use a transformer to match the impedance between the crystal radio and my iPhone's recorder input. And you've seen that in many of my videos. It's called the crystal radio recording kit. Just a step-down transformer. To avoid copyright issues, I can't tune into the station with the music for long. After 10 seconds, I need to switch to another channel. Otherwise, my video will be flagged as copyright infringement. So apologies for that. That's why in all my testing video, very quickly, once I hear music, I will tune it to another station where I hear the conversation.
Facebook 發現至少102個偽冒專頁，涉及盜用東瀛遊嘅名稱及商標發放虛假嘅貼文，並以不合理嘅價錢銷售酒店及2萬宗客人嘅查詢，當中合作支持歐中領導人會晤取得積極成果，法方支持開放合作，反對保護主義。旺角通菜街一棟唐樓尋日傍晚發生火警，3人送院，一名女子涉嫌縱火被捕。事發喺尋日傍晚6點左右，警方接報。
This is the MOSFET that I'm using, called freeenergy. It's very tiny. Oh, I dropped it on the sand. Fortunately, I can find it. It's a surface-mounted device SMD, so I have to connect it, solder it to a bigger circuit board, to connect to a 4-pin header, and I can insert it to my detector socket. So this detector socket allows you to use different type of diodes, crystals, or this MOSFET for your FM or AM crystal radio.
站係錄得4至5，健康風險屬於中，路邊。
We've tested the FM that works nicely. Now let's look at the AM. Let me test it.
2-3日日夜溫差較大，持續天晴乾燥。明日初時信號同埋黃色火災危險警告現正生效。氣溫28，相對濕度67%。
Now I'm testing the AM broadcast with this crystal radio. You can see that the antenna has been switched to connect to the AM terminal there. When I touch it, the sound will be gone. I also connected a 1.2 meter long drop cable. That's the middle terminal you're seeing there with the bare copper wire. And that functions as the grounding. So by connecting the ground to this drop cable, and then the antenna terminal's hot end, antenna coil's hot end to the telescopic antenna, I try to create a kind of dipole for the AM. Of course, the AM antenna is very long to be an effective dipole. Just trying to make do with what I have.
文物也是抢救吧，但现在我们的前面的预防保护、抢救性保护、系统性的保护、本体的保护、环境保护，都需要我们开阔视野，以更低的成本、更高的效率遏制病害的发育。我们要针对文物病害诊断、修复效果评估重点需求，加强传统。
The AM broadcasting station is around 10 kilometers from here on another mountain on the opposite side of the FM transmission station. So it's still receiving very clear signals.
卖掉牲畜仍然无法渡过难关的贾巴尔之后，不得不举家迁往纳西里。
This area where we are, so Wellington Street, Queen's Road, the publisher of it was. So the artisans were working on this.
Because this part of Hong Kong is close to the mainland China, where there are many strong, powerful broadcasting stations. Sometimes I will receive those as well.
This one was 1866, printed in 1867.
Temples.
Puching.
24号，正在韩国举行的三星杯世界围棋大师赛传来喜讯，中国棋手丁浩9段在第2场半决赛中执黑战胜韩国名将朴廷桓9段。
新闻纵横，追问新闻。
新闻纵横，追问新闻，近距离欣赏蒙古族明艳大气的非遗刺绣作品。
Next, I'm going indoor and testing the AM broadcast using a very long antenna around 50 meters, dropping down from my window.
底下呢还有小分题的。那我提出一个小分题吧。洗礼就是信徒要受洗啦，这个是很实际的神学的问题。
This is the end of this video that concluded my project for this 3D printed AM FM crystal radio. I will continue to create more DIY projects in different areas of crystal radio, hydroponics, growing of plants and vegetables, electronics, the retro game machines, 8-bit games, and many other things I feel interested in. Now that I have more time, I plan to release more videos. In order to support me, please help to like my video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and share with your friends. Thanks a lot. This is Billy. You're watching the BillyCdiy channel.